We can try to figure it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
If not, maybe I can send it to guys after we leave. He emails it. I can forward it to you. Oh, you do?
So,
I can link that to you, I guess. I don't know how fast we can get anybody here.
okay, we'll go ahead and start our November 7th, 2022 regular commissioner meeting. And I will say that we may have an interruption with technology here in a few minutes, and we might pause the meeting, but we won't close the meeting. We'll just pause it to try to get a presentation on our screens. But we'll start our meeting today with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the first item on our agenda today is employee recognition. And let's kind of split these. There's not a lot of them, but I'll just kind of split them into thirds here. And I can start. The first employee is April Wall, 20 years of service to Whitley County government. Laura Enyart, 25 years. Todd Cook, 25 years. Michael Puckett, 25 years.
Amy Motter, 29 years. Randy Dellinger, 34 years. Nadine Lamley, 37 years. Scott Wagner, 26 years.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. I have Sean Martin for 26 years. Judge Rentschler, 26 years. Jody Hollenbaugh, 28 years. And Troy Wolf, 28 years.
Thank you, everyone, for
Thank
your
you.
service. It's always remarkable seeing these. And, you know, I think today they were all over 20 years, weren't they?
Yeah.
It's really amazing. I think it speaks volumes for working for Whitley County government. And we're very grateful for everyone in their service. The next item on the agenda is our county attorney, Matt Shipman.
I don't have anything specifically to report, other than some of the stuff we've got later on the agenda, which I reviewed and seems fine. And I did look at the extension office renewal. It's not set for next month or till next meeting, I think, but that also looks fine. Unless you guys have questions for me.
Good, thanks, Matt. The next item on the agenda is ARP Ordinance. Is anyone, I'm not sure why it's back on the agenda, so.
So I'll speak to that. So we've already passed it and it's done. If you remember at the last council meeting, some members of council had some questions. So we were going to have Andy Boxberger come and make himself available because he's done this for many other entities. And Matt's also going to be there so they can ask questions. There was some confusion, so his attorney sent these out as an example and somebody filled them in. Because when I saw these, I was a little taken aback because I didn't even know where they came from. I called Matt, he had no idea. I called Attorney Boxberger, he had no idea. And then he talked to his assistant attorney, and they had sent these out just as an example of what some other counties have done. So one is allocating all of the funds that we've set forth in the plan. And then another one's an example of a resolution just appropriating one of the items. Because you can piece them out.
Okay.
That's it.
Any action needed?
No.
Okay. We're gonna skip Gary while we get your presentation up, and we'll move to Mark Sturtevant, Solid Waste Garage Restroom.
Good afternoon, Mark Sturtevant, County Maintenance. Did everyone get a chance to get a copy of this? I'm here today looking for a recommendation or some guidance on how you'd like to move forward with the solid waste highway garage restrooms. As you see out there outlined in the proposal, I'm estimating this project to come in around $36,250. Quite a bit of stuff there that needs to be done.
And this estimation is for both restrooms, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And will that, the HVAC repairs, will that also cover the upstairs?
This-
No.
No,
Okay.
it was not included in it. We could
Okay.
look at that if you'd like. But that was not included in it. At that time, it was just, according to Katie, it was just being used for storage. There wasn't any proposal to use it for anything other than that.
Okay.
I guess I've got questions of, have we got plans for upkeep once we do something to those? Is maintenance gonna take care of that, or is highway gonna take care of the
So
upkeep?
if you remember in our solid waste board meetings, we kind of went back and forth, and I think we were going to hire a cleaning company to come in once a week or something. if I
Solid
had
waste
remember.
board, right? Solid waste
Is
board.
that what I
would-
said? Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what you said. I just wanted to clarify, not the Board of Commissioners. We're not going
Right.
to hire someone. The Solid Waste Board would hire someone to come and maintain, right?
But I don't think we've ever taken any action on it,
I
but
don't believe we have
something,
either.
yeah, but something needs to be done. If anyone's ever been down to the recycling center, the bathrooms in there are, I heard they were bad, but I thought they were much worse than I could ever have thought, probably worse than you're even thinking. And our employees need somewhere to use the restroom that's appropriate, and also if customers stop by, so they can use it as well. So it definitely needs done.
And Mark, as you know, this was kind of a pain point for me, right? Like I expressed some frustration because I didn't understand. There were a lot of different things that were talked about. And I kind of took my frustrations out on you, right? And I apologize for that. But I think the reason for the frustrations was we had initially talked about doing both bathrooms, and then there was this idea for an office thrown in. We were going to convert a bathroom to an office, but then there's this space upstairs that's sufficient for an office space. And the reason why an office would be needed is because as technology changes, records will be kept on a computer instead of note cards, which we're still using today. We're using, when we do maintenance on a vehicle, we're just pulling a note card and writing down the changes that we've made. So I since then understand more about why we would want an office area, why we would want somewhere to keep a computer and keep some other technology like the OBD scanners that we're using on all the vehicles now and things like that that we don't want just left out in the shop. So that's why I asked if in this estimation, we are also going to do any temperature control upstairs. And I know there's some, if we talk about like down the road, nothing immediate, but down the road, I think they're talking about extending that floor out a little bit. So I didn't know if now would be a good time to plan for that so that we're not spending more money later on changing out HVAC units or any of that.
Yes, if we're thinking about doing temperature control on the second floor, now's the time to do it. What's proposed in this packet is mini splits. So if the unit outside, I can have one size to handle 3 areas instead of just 2. I can look at those numbers. I don't think it would be that, it's not gonna change that much.
Yeah, those mini splits are really ideal for projects like these. So
Yeah. Right now,
even if we needed to get a third later on for upstairs.
yeah, if we could just size the one out, the unit outside for 3 heads, we can always buy the third head later.
Okay. Commissioners, I would like to move forward with the estimate.
It definitely needs done. Have we decided where you wanted to take this out of? What funding you're talking about?
No, that's what I'm here today.
I believe that it would be most appropriate to use cum cap
That's what I
for
was
this
thinking.
project.
Yeah, I think you're correct on getting the estimate for the office upstairs. We do need somewhere for our lead mechanic to keep the information and keep important items. Because as Commissioner Banks said, I laughed pretty hard when I found out we were using note cards in a little box to keep all of our information on our vehicles. So I think now would be the appropriate time, or like you said, just to get the space for it, and then when we finish it out, purchase the unit.
So we're looking for a favorable pass to the council then?
Yeah, they'll need to allocate those funds.
I'll make a motion for a favorable pass to council on the solid waste restrooms.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anything else you'd like to add, Mark?
Just for clarification, do you want me to get the price for the third head also?
Yeah, I think at this point, we definitely want to move forward with this.
Okay.
And then we want to look at what would it cost to maybe spec out a different mini split that would cover both floors, or maybe if we just wanted to address that later on and add another mini split for the upstairs. But for right now, this is definitely something that we all agree that we want to move forward with. And the solid waste board has had discussions about raising rent, and that's something that we intend to move forward with at the beginning of the year. And I know Matt has had some involvement in that as well, and we'll get some clarification, I think, on Wednesday.
I do still need to know for sure the amount. So
I believe we're going from 500 to 750 a month, but we'll clarify that when we're all together as a board on Wednesday. So I have a motion and a second for a favorable pass to spend $36,250 from cum cap. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Are we good for Gary?
I think so.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Gary Bird.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If you can be as close to a microphone as possible, Gary, that'd be really great. If you want to stand, that's okay. If you want to sit, that's okay too.
Yeah, you got it. I guess I'll
There you go.
Well, thank you for having me today. I'm trying to get out to the community and let them know a project that I've been working on, which is the cleaning and restoration of veteran headset. And I spend a lot of time at our cemeteries around our county, either through the honor guard, or I just like to visit old veterans. So with that said, this is a short presentation that I have to kind of share the secret. So for many years, I put out Memorial Day flags, which total nearly 3,000 flags. In fact, the commissioner played that with us. And every year it grows by 100 or 200 flags. Every year. So I visit a lot of these graves. And there's a lot of history within our county about the various veterans out there. And since doing so, I've noticed there's many markers that are dirty because on, there's no longer anybody really taking care of them, and or they need some repair. You may have heard the cemetery up in conflict extensive repair, and you look at cemetery was just given yesterday. So if you ever get up that way, please stop off and look at it. You know, it's kind of disturbing as I walk and I see these stones are laying on the ground, mowers are going across them. And I realize the budgets for trustees and stuff to maintain those, or the city is limited. But we as volunteers can step in and maybe soften that a little bit. So with your support, I hope to begin the project as soon as possible and bring back honor to our veterans and our shared to you at the last experiment session. So to assist in bringing variance records, I've kind of broke this down into 3 phases. Phase 1 would be straight to the holes, clean the marker, identifying record markers of non-veterans. In phase 2, for example, if somebody nearby, stone fell over, it needs some work. We will try to make efforts to contact the family, see if it's okay to do that. With veteran markers, however, those are basically owned by Veterans Affairs. It controls those. And if you read the Veterans Affairs, for example, I had somebody ask me about power washing. That's illegal. So phase 1 and 2 cemeteries, I picked Green Hill, no, because that's where I'm at, and South Park and Columbia Township. If you go to what Columbia Township is, it's way out on the corner where the sign says welcome to Columbia City. It's back in here in the corner. Yeah, it's hard to find, but there's veterans in there. And then phase 3 would be those cemeteries by request of family members or church. We're watering this after post 43 and 468 Gator Board area. Gary Murdoch, I've known him for years, first sergeant in the cavalry, that's where I was. And so this is an example of the project that they're doing in that area. And, I'm actually been invited to a meeting in December 10th to visit some of the folks. This is kind of an example of it. So what I'm trying to do today is brief all the parties involved in the first efforts to getting feedback on the road being successful. The government entities, Rotary, helps, various churches, and to let them know what we're trying to achieve. We understand the first office will not charge our government for one thing. I'm not running for any office. So this is all going to be done by donations of materials or funds. Currently, right now, I'm using my own little bit of money. And in the labor to the project, actually, I've had the Elks and several other groups, Boy Scout, Troop 83, they're just coming out of the woodwork. They want to help the cemetery and help us. So basically today, I'm just letting the community know the project and just trying to get the word out. So if they see me digging around the cemetery, they won't. I actually have some large ones. I might make up exactly what. So the next steps. The project is intended to be long term. As I said, we have 3,000, not quite 3,000. All these, most of them have the nice brass markers on them now, and they don't require a lot of maintenance. They've made some good modifications over the years. And so this is long term, and we would like to see groups take ownership, just like you might say, like adopt a highway for them. We're going to adopt a cemetery and make sure the stones are clean and so forth. But and I will let them know because again, I do fight on almost all the cemeteries in our county. And when I identify and prioritize those markets in need and immediate solutions, some are actually toppling over, so we want to make sure we get those set back up, get some quickly, what we call dusty 11 stone. You kind of naturally put those stones back in play where they'll ship again. And identify the proper materials, which I already done that, and then matching that up with volunteers to materials for the project. I use a D2 material. This is the same material I use at Arlington Cemetery and the national cemeteries throughout the country. It's an environmentally safe product. Basically, you can almost spray that stuff on and walk away. It is designed to eat away the fungus, so forth. But I have found that since some of the stone has been there for hundreds of years, it takes a little extra effort to get that off. So, so I'm trying to take this process and make sure that I have it. So this is not the first time that I've gotten involved with cemetery projects other than putting out the flags. The old cemetery didn't have a flagpole, and it just it bugged me. that I'm gonna be in turn down the road there, and there's no flag. And so, come to find out, that flagpole sets, and there are actually 3 other flagpoles. And we dug down, we actually came across brick where the flagpole base actually, at one time, and then we dug down further, wood. So there was a flagpole there for many years. It just, so one day my wife works across the street here, happened to be downtown, and they were measuring the flagpole. They were taking out the city building and replace it. And her, that's what we're gonna do with it. And they were just gonna scrap it. And so we asked if we could have it. We got the approvals, and the city delivered it to our Boy Scouts, and painted it, and with donations to the employees on it. And it now has a flag flying. Okay, so the next project is kind of some examples of what I'm talking about. If you don't get to cemeteries very often, but these are, you notice the one with Jim Washburn. I'm actually working on that stone. That's at Green Hill, but it's a white marble material. But you can see the black material on there. I've taken some of that off, but it's required some scrubbing. The one below that's an example of some maintenance that we had, but that stone's been hit. Notice it's not on its base of Margaret here, but those are military and they'll be cleaned up. I think that's at the south part. But it's been, we'll ship that back on its base, so it's on there really nice and then clean that off. But, this is examples. Most of the ones that like up here where Riley is, those are the more newer stones. Those are actually fairly easy to clean. Because of the type of material, it's not sandstone material. So the next stone, you can again see some examples, but the ones over to the far right, those are at Wolf Cemetery. You notice they're laying on the ground. And so we want to. This has actually been approached to me from another Eagle Scout. He would like to research, make sure those stones belong where they are, with the appropriate people, and get those stuff off there. So there's some work there to be done. But you can also see with the lure stone down here with Carver, that is a Revolutionary Guards Revolutionary stone, and it's really in bad shape. It's like in that south part. So this next one again, one up in the top floor is old. You can see it slid off its base. The others, the ones at the bottom, you notice there's a tree in the background, both those stones, those are Civil War veteran stones. That tree has been laying there for 4 or 5 years. In fact, and I'm here from Wagner trustee hasn't removed it, but we're going to talk about that. But those are Civil War stones, and again, we need to clean that up and get the tree out of there. So the next slide, actually, I got some examples of I've actually used these as my experiments. The one in the top left, you can already read it, right? And I'm going to show you here in the middle what it looks like that I got done with. The other one next to it, it's been hit by a mower. I've contacted Leavenworth, where these come from, and asked them about if I can replace that. Because you can see where the mower has hit the top of it, and chipped it, and over on the far side, it's also chipped. And that tree. That's a picture of that tree that's laying at Columbia Township. And the limbs, you can see the stones in the very back are covered with the top brush of it. So, thank you. I think there's one more slide. So, sorry about the thing, but I wanted to show you the one I showed you earlier. This is Josh Effort. I like this stone because. So, this was before, and this is after I finished. So, that's something we just put in yesterday. The only thing I need to do yet is to straighten that stone. And unfortunately, the Civil War stones are just set to dirt. I actually can pull that out. Put that on Facebook or anything because it's disappearing. But I need to get some backfill on that stuff to stay straight up. But, so that's a good example of one. And then here's another. That's a Green Hill. And this is another one. This is a Spanish-American war veteran, and he's actually right along the road. If you go into Green Hill, take a left, and go out that road, you'll see this stone. It's right. It's kind of by itself, and it's out by its. He's always been my favorite. I've always made sure he has a flag, but he is one of the few Spanish American war veterans that we have in our county. And you can tell again how you can read it so much better. The chemical on it kind of has an 80% brown. It will clean up. Rain, snow, we just kind of let it naturally kind of get back to its pureness. So that's kind of why it's discolored. That's it. I just kind of wanted to share the secret. And I'm not digging up grapes. Any questions?
Thank you,
Thank
Gary.
you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Scott Wagner with the public health hazard. And I believe you also have a cell phone stipend request.
Thank you for letting me join at the last minute here. Last Thursday, the health department received a court order to enter a property in Churubusco that we have had under surveillance for a couple months because of complaints, and worked with APS to advance the situation. The elderly female resident lived there, and subsequently after hospital visit, we with the assistance of Parky Whitley had her placed in a home that she could be better cared for. We entered the residence with the help of the PD and fire department there in Churubusco and found severe conditions there for the home. So severe that we believe it's a public health hazard because of the amount of rodents that are in the home. There was 12 dogs and 3 birds removed from the house. A lot of the dogs didn't have hair at all. We could take by the bee shelter, be cared for. At the time that they were taken out, I do believe one of the animals will be put down because of the severeness of its injuries and neglect that it has suffered. So I'm coming to you today to see whether you would allow the health department to spend monies either to look at getting quotes for making the house not a public health hazard or tearing it down. If you agree to that, we'll move forward to the proper legal court request that we need to do to be able to seize that property to do that. We just can't go in and do things without violating people's civil rights. So we will, just as if we got a court order to enter, we'll get a court order to move forward on protecting the neighborhood there in Churubusco to make sure that we're not allowing rodents to continue to breed and move out to the other neighbors there in the house. So just want to make sure that that was something that you'd be willing to back. I don't have any preliminary cost time. I would bring that back to you before moving forward.
So are you saying that it'll cost money to get the quotes?
It will not cost money to get quotes, but just want to know in the future, if we're going to go to court and spend money with the attorney to advance either condemning or cleaning the property, that we can then spend monies to do that and put those bills back on the taxes.
Back on their property tax?
Correct.
Are those taxes up to date? Do we know? Are they
As
paying you?
far as I know, yes. I think they've been paid.
And the health department has their own legal counsel, right?
We do. Liz Deckard, same law firm as Matt here. I'm sure we'll be working together on that.
How would you like to move forward?
Well, I think with the, excuse me, the facts that there are rodents within the building, and you had some rodents that you even saw in there.
Yeah, dozens. They're running around the lines walking through there.
Yeah, I would suggest that we approve monies to go forward with this.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to give financial commitment for Mark moving forward, or Scott rather. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hands, and oppose the same.
I'll make sure I keep it in the progress. I'll just let our attorney know to move forward on that and get a date set to go in and file that complaint with the court. and see how quickly we can move on. Winter's coming fast. So I don't know, if there's even heat in the home. And so we want to make sure that we try to stop it before they spread out.
And can you make sure the minutes reflect that the costs incurred will be tacked on to the property taxes as discussed earlier?
The cell phone stipend would be for Mike Malcolm. He's our part-time goods measures inspector. He started a couple of years ago to take some of the load off of my position to do that. Since he's part-time, he doesn't feel like he should charge the county to come in and look at the phone. A lot of times these people who do the weights and measures, the scale truck guys, they don't really call or leave messages. So he gave them his cell phone and they have been calling him quite a bit. He's pretty active. It's just easier for him just to get the call, be able to come in and take time in, come in, log in the computer, stuff like that. So he's just requesting that. I didn't know if he could get any assistance with that at all.
I think it's a completely reasonable request. I'm in favor of it. I just have one question. Is it commonplace for part-time employees to get a cell phone stipend? And I'm only asking because I don't know, and I don't know what
I
kind of.
don't think I know of
what we're
any.
opening up here.
I don't think we do any right now.
Would you be willing to do it if we paid it out of our own funding?
Well, again, I think this is a reasonable request, and I'm willing to do it regardless.
Okay.
I'm just posing the question and making sure that we're considering what this means exactly. I think it's case by case.
I think so as
think
well.
There may be other part-time employees who are using their cell phone for government use, but the part that's interesting to me is that if you're receiving a cell phone stipend, you're saying that you're using your phone for work. The part-time person's using their phone part-time for work, and do they receive the same stipend as a full-time employee? I don't know.
He didn't even know that we even had a stipend issue in the county. So I brought that to him that I could request it and see what happens.
I think the coroner has cell phones. Do they?
County
Just
cell
one?
phones
Okay.
or stipends?
Stipends, is just the one?
I think it's phone. They have.
I'll make a motion approving the stipend for the part-time weights and measures inspector.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? You said that you had funds available to cover
Yes,
that?
right now, the other cell phones that the full-time employees have, there's 4 of us who have cell phones that are paid out of a grant, preparedness grant that we receive yearly. We're paying those currently out of that grant, and we do have monies in there that could additionally pay if you want me to just have him add up his hours and take him, or if you want me to use a specific dollar amount per month.
I think the standard $30 would be,
Okay,
And would your motion
Okay.
include that he would fund it from his grant? money?
yes, I'll amend my motion.
George, you'll accept
I'll
that
amend.
amendment? I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. There's a saying that's unanimous.
and I'll just have you tell me the process is that we need to turn that in every month.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I'll be back again in 2 weeks for a health board change for member.
Someone leaving us?
Yes, Mark Garris, Parkview is leaving at the end of December, and Dr. Amy Sadler will be coming on the board. So there'll be a new addition for you to review and accept her if you wish. COVID hasn't really seen too many bumps, a little bit of bump. RFP is a huge issue. Influenza is coming on board real fast. So if you can Walmart, let me try to get a cold for flu medicine, we'll see what the shelves are empty. Really hitting hard right now. So you might hear lots of kids out of school.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Tiffany Deakins.
So I am coming to you all. I'm on an email chain for all of the auditor groups for all over the county, and came to our attention that we have the possibility of having monies that we put into county gen every month, actually every Friday, for monies that we collect in our office for our parcels to actually go to a Plat book maintenance fund. Basically what that would do is all those books that are up in our office, we could digitize them. So I would like to start taking those funds and put it into this to kind of build up that way. When it gets to $100,000 or whatever case may be that these would cost, I could just use these funds instead of coming to you all and saying, can we have X amount of dollars to digitize the books? So it's something that a lot of counties had, and I had no idea that it was even a thing until it came across in our email group. So just coming forward to see if we can put that into place so we can start putting those funds.
Would we just create a new line item?
There's already it would actually go into the fund that is specific for this, which is 1181 set by the state. You kind of like Rosemary, how she has her records, and just a way to kind of put those monies aside for the Plat books.
I think it's a good idea. They do need digitized, and we're finding out that it does cost thousands and thousands to do that. So I would be in favor.
That a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we have passed ordinance number
2022-20.
2022-20.
And I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll open it up for further discussion. The only question that I might like to ask is, would that, as those funds are collected, would that also include server space? Because as we digitize things, that takes a lot of room on servers.
Yep, it's for maintaining the fund itself, so it's anything that is related to that. So that can most definitely be done at that time.
Great. Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That also passes unanimously. Thank you for that. I mean, that's really appreciated that you find a way to a little money to pay for something down the road.
Yep, absolutely. I know it's not going to be cheap, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is Nathan Bilger with plat approval.
Good afternoon. Have one plat for your review and approval this afternoon. This is the Ruth Hartman edition. It's a 2-lot plat located on 950 West, almost as far west in the county as you can get. They are taking their acreage and just splitting it into 2 pieces. Planning Commission looked at this at their October meeting and approved it. Pretty straightforward. Of course, right of way for the county road is being dedicated. And pretty straightforward plat.
I'd make a motion that we approve the Ruth Hartman edition.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That passes unanimously.
Thank you. I do want to remind you too that at the end of the year, we'll have an opening on the county BZA. One of the members is stepping down at the end of his term. So we will have a commissioner appointment opening. I think Tiffany had put that on your agenda for the last meeting of the year, just to make those appointments.
Nathan, just moving forward, can we update my last name on here?
We try and catch that. Obviously, we didn't on this one. So yeah, I'll make sure that they know.
Thank you.
Also in the packet was a Gigi's Place preliminary.
Oh, thank you. We did not, I expected the Mylar. We have not yet gotten the Mylar yet. That was approved at the same meeting as recarving. So I expected both of them to come, and we haven't seen this one yet. So
Okay.
as soon as we do, we'll get that to you. We do have another one that was approved at the September meeting that will be on your next agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Next item on the agenda is the core EOS contract review. We did receive Matt's redlined and clean versions, and we sent those to core EOS. Cami took care of that. Thank you, Cami. She sent that to core EOS, who then sent it to their legal. So at this point, there's not really anything we can do. Just we need to make sure that they'll accept the red lines, and then we do appreciate you moving on that pretty quickly last week.
Yeah, no problem. It was, the contract was just a little one-sided, and I felt like, they may say no, because I may have pushed over a little bit, but, we'll evaluate what the response is.
But
Thank
we
you.
are moving forward with that, so we hope to.
Do we need a motion to table?
It wouldn't hurt. I don't know if we do or not, but
Motion to table.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of tabling, please signify by raising your right hand. The next item on the agenda is the commissioner meeting schedule. In your packet, you have the 2023 meeting schedule with the dates and times of the meetings.
That was just moving forward with how it was currently. I didn't receive any other things to present to you, so I wasn't sure what you wanted, but
I would entertain a motion to accept the 2023 meeting schedule.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second? I will second the motion. Any further discussion?
I'll just say one thing, just as I've stated before in other meetings, I think it would be a good idea to at least entertain the idea of having evening meetings so some of our other constituents and residents could attend. But I know I lack support on that, so.
One motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And opposed, the same. The record show that's 2-1. The next item on the agenda is a facility request. Last week I did receive a request for Old Settlers Days, the fair. This is a request that we receive year over year. It's always the same. This year, the dates requested are June 19th through June 25th. And the times requested would be, it would be 12 o'clock noon on the 19th through 12 o'clock noon on Thursday, the 25th. One thing to note, and I'm not sure that it's specified in here, but one of the things that they would like to add to the fair this year is a hot air balloon glow, I think is what they called that. And they would like to, I'm not sure that they'll take people up in the hot air balloon. I think that they'll just have a hot air balloon go up and they'll be able to bring it back down. But they would like to do that on our courthouse lawn. And so that's something that I think we need to consult with Mark Sturtevant and those folks in maintenance about. I think it's a great idea, and I think the goal is to attract more people to the fair during the day and just provide something other than carnival rides and carnival food. So I support the idea. I really like the idea. I just think that we might need to talk that over a little bit more with Mark. They're fully aware that they're going to need support from like Columbia City Fire Department, which they have, and probably they should talk to Parkview EMS and that sort of thing. But I don't think that there's anything more or less unsafe with this idea of carnival. So I support it. I just think we should probably chew on it a little bit before we approve.
I agree. I know that Old Settlers is, many people like to go to it and it's a fun event and I support it, but I don't want to jeopardize the integrity of our courthouse lawn. If it's going to be torn up in any way, I can't support it. So I would like to, I guess, further investigate exactly what they're doing, because obviously these people are out of town. I'm not saying they would be rude as guests, but they're not nearly as vested in the community as we all are.
So for the facility request, it's actually not listed in there. And
I
again,
think it should be.
this is the, okay.
If
We can
that's
ask them
okay.
to amend
I
it.
just want to be
Yeah.
very black and white with it.
Yep.
Matt, if we approve that, do we have the liability then?
Can we table it for now and just, since Old Settlers is a
Well,
ways
yeah, I
away?
don't think we'd have any liability any more than we already do for Old Settlers, which I don't
Yeah.
think is any, but yeah, if it doesn't have it in the request, then did you anticipate they were gonna have a supplemental request about that part of it, or?
I'm not sure. I had just spoken, there's a member of Whately County Council who's also a Red Coat, a member of the Old Settlers Association, who shared that with me. I think it would be in addition to, and maybe it would be a supplemental. We could request that. We could ask them, we could say we're totally fine with the same request that we receive year over year, but if you are going to do it, and they don't even know yet if they're going to do it, they're just exploring that. So they're saying, would the commissioners consider approving that? So I think that we are safe to approve this and then request that if they do anything additional, we can
That makes
add in
sense
another.
to me,
But I'm totally fine with tabling the whole thing too, if that's your.
I think we should just table the whole thing. I think we have plenty of time to work it out, just so
Sure.
going forward, if someone else did a facilities request, I don't want to have multiple requests going on. I think it's just a lot cleaner if we table it and have them amend it, if that's okay.
Sure.
So
I'm okay with that.
Yep,
George, you're
I'll
okay with that?
second.
Yeah. So that's a motion to
Yeah.
table, right? And George, that was a second. So I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of tabling, please signify by raising your right hand. And I'll take it on and make sure that I ask for them to specify that in the facilities request. And Mark, you and I can meet, or we can meet as a whole group or whatever and talk about what that could mean.
I guess I'd like to know who's doing it, if it's Poor Jacks or if it's another,
no,
it's not,
no,
okay.
It would be somebody completely different, not associated with that. So fair. I think it's a great idea. I just think we have more to consider. So, okay. Next item on the agenda is payroll and accounts payable claims approval.
Yeah, I had a chance to take a look at payroll and everything looked fine with payroll, so I'd make a motion that we approve payroll.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve payroll. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand.
And I had a chance to look at accounts payable and all the claims looked good. I didn't see anything out of ordinary there, so I'd make a motion that we approve accounts payable.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve accounts payable and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That also passes unanimously.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
I'm trying to keep this.
okay. I don't care, but Tiffany might. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our previous meeting minutes from October 17th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the October 17th meeting minutes.
I'll second with discussion.
Okay, I'll open it up for discussion.
The first paragraph there, Churubusco TIF resolution, misspelling of Whitley County. Sorry about that. Being picky about things.
No, that's a
You
good
should be,
catch.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So do we want to?
I can revise and bring back.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve with one amendment. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand.
Get that, Cammy.
Okay, is there anything that anyone from the audience would like to add? Chair recognizes Gary Bird.
On Saturday, the annual Veterans Marathon. It takes place. Again, we're expecting, the cooler temperatures, they still come out of woodwork all over the country that are running. This is the end. So, yes, numbers are doing very well. This year's recipient of the proceeds is the index.
Thank you. Is there anything that anyone else would like to add? Matt, do you have anything?
I just want to make sure that I keep on you guys' radar that we still do need some appointments to the Regional Sewer District Board. We actually need two from the commissioners, so maybe, to the extent some of these people that are on some of the other boards are coming off, maybe they be interested in joining a new board, but just keep that in the back of your mind. It's not an emergency or anything, but we are short two board members, so.
I do know that there has been some recent discussions with some potential members, at least from the second district.
Okay.
I need to find someone for mine.
I know that, George, you're leaving us, so I kind of just took that on for second district.
That's
and then just
fine.
kind of
Yeah.
consulting with some people. I'm looking for someone who might be good. And, it's good because we opened up the district, which opens up eligibility. And it's difficult when you have a limited space to find someone who's willing to serve in that capacity.
The two main things to consider is that they can't live in one of the cities or in the existing sewer districts. So, as long as they don't live in Tri-Lakes or live in Churubusco, South Whitley, they should be fine. So.
Okay. Tiffany, do you have anything additional?
I do not.
Tamla, do you have anything additional? Commissioner Shaw? Commissioner Basinger?
Nothing other than George only has 3 meetings left.
Short term.
12 years as a commissioner.
It's been enjoyable 12 years. I really have. It's going to be bittersweet.
Well, you've been great to us, teaching us and being so kind to us since we came in because you didn't have to. So I appreciate that.
It's a great position to be in.
Okay, I have nothing to add. Thank you all. Meeting adjourned.
What was that more exciting than city council?